Friends, Happy New Year. Welcome to all of you. Hopefully you are all keeping safe in these trying times. We are very fortunate that we begin this year with the august presence of our favorite Swami Chidananda amongst us. Now, many of you know him and met him over the years. Those of you who are not familiar with him, I'll just do a quick introduction. Swamiji was the resident Acharya of Chinmaya Mission in San Jose during the 90s, from 93 to 98, when we had the privilege of doing a lot of satsangs with him. Actually, Swamiji is the one who started our home satsang long time ago. And with God's grace, we have been keeping up that tradition, monthly satsang, third Friday. And Swamiji has graced this occasion many times on his visits to the West Coast. And he's an engineer by profession, as a training. A long time ago, he's got his MTech in electrical engineering from IIT Madras. After spending, just working briefly, he joined the Chinmaya Mission, spent many years there. Then he spent about 10 years in Varanasi. And then now he's in Himachal Pradesh in Solan, doing his own sadhana and gives a lot of talks in various parts of India. Swamiji has selected a very important topic, very relevant to the times, Meeting with Hard Times, Emerging Victorious. That's the title, Guidance from Gita. And as you saw the abstract, we all face hard times, and the wisdom from Bhagavad Gita, and he added at the end, Yudhyasya Vigata Jwaraha, chapter 3, verse 30. So I welcome Swamiji, and the logistics is Swamiji will talk about 45 minutes or so, then we'll have 10-15 minutes for questions, and we'll end after that. Okay? Up to you, Swamiji.
Oh. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. I am indeed happy to address all of you who have been in touch with me over all these decades. In fact, 10 minutes back, I said, hey, I'm going to address that group of people in San Jose. And I felt so excited. I threw away the chair. I rearranged it. I am speaking to you standing, because sometimes when you stand and speak, you get even better energy. And for a group like you, I don't mind standing for hours and sharing thoughts on the Gita. Well, dear friends, we have a topic which is of interest to us really from the cradle to the grave. For our life is such, it always has various uncertainties. You can never lie back on past laurels, saying, I have achieved this or I have done that, now I can relax. You can never relax. For more than the world outside, your own mind throws new challenges at you every now and then. In view of that, where is the hope for us? I tell you, our own Bhagavad Gita is an inexhaustible source of guidance so that we may bounce back to good spirits. The issue with Bhagavad Gita, like they have a saying in Hindi, Ghar ki murgi dal barabar. Many of us tend to take Bhagavad Gita for granted. We think, including teachers like us, oh, let us go for some out of the way Upanishad or Ashtavakra Gita or some Yoga Vasishta. There may be the solution to our turmoil, our conflict, etc. With due respect to all those great works, Bhagavad Gita is never going to fail us. Gita has all those scriptures in it and much more. No wonder someone like M.K. Gandhi, who had to face countless challenges of human life in the political arena, in the area of social service and whatnot, resorted to Bhagavad Gita. And he said, whenever I am in darkness, I just open Bhagavad Gita, and whichever page I open has always given me the solution. It has given me light. I have found light. Here, therefore, we are tonight, going by the time zone of most of you, taking a look at Bhagavad Gita to find an answer to this issue, how we may face hard times in life and emerge victorious. Friends, we always respect the sciences of the world, science, technology, economic, history, and all the university subjects do have a place of their own. But as Sri Krishna himself says in the Gita, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyana, of all branches of knowledge, spiritual knowledge is something unique, it's most fascinating, for it goes to the root of issues. And this vast world, which is apparently infinite, do you know what? This whole infinite universe has a center, and the center of the universe is you and me. I am the center of my world. You are the center of your world. And if you can tackle this center of your universe, your entire universe will be tackled. In view of that, Adhyatma Vidya, which is about tackling ourselves, managing ourselves. One last time, by saying so, we do not disrespect the subjects of the phenomenal universe. We have studied and gone to colleges, got degrees, we got some social position thereby. Our children are doing well. They have gone to universities. They have a social position, a livelihood, and so on. It has its own place. However, whether it's our children or we ourselves, when the moments of true conflict stare us in our eyes, we need to look within. Therefore, in this talk, I shall present before you a few ideas which can give to us immense strength and empower us to face hard times, and we can surely emerge victorious. So, first of all, in the Bhagavad Gita, no matter what chapter you open, there are tips for us to rediscover hidden energy within ourselves. In the simplest terms, really speaking, we must take the values that Bhagavad Gita teaches seriously. We sometimes think we are too smart and we think we can play with fire. We think we can actually play with Satya, Ahimsa, Brahmacharya, and such cardinal values. Bhagavad Gita as though holds our ear and says, don't you play with those universal values. Your happiness lies in how well you align with the cardinal values, Satya, Ahimsa, Brahmacharya. When you and I study Adhyatma Vidya, we get so many concepts. Atma, Paramatma, Swarga, Naraka, Dharma, Adharma, Punya, Papa, rise, fall. Oh, Vedanta study seems to not end at all. But you know what? At the end of it all, if there is one teaching that is common to all spiritual studies, that is, above all, be true to yourself. You may study a whole lot of scriptures, but if you are not true to yourself, you deceive yourself, you hoodwink yourself. If you have some value, but actually you live according to some other norms, that is self-deception. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, more you and I live in self-deception, weaker we become. Or to put it the other way around, if we want inner strength, if we want to float, even as everything else is drowning, if you want to keep swimming above water, develop inner strength by a life of no compromise with your own inner voice. Therefore, saying sometimes Satya, some other times Arjava, some other time again Chitta Shuddhi, some other time Sattva Shuddhi, some other time a sattvic state of mind, and at some other time truly devoted to God. These are all several ways in which Sri Krishna asks us to live a conscientious life, where our way of living is not at variance with our own conscience. Conscience violated becomes a self-deception in our life. So, above all, you want to meet situations, hard times, continuously work on aligning yourself with truth. Satya na paro dharmaha. There is a saying, there is no virtue greater than Satya. None of us is 100% aligned with truth, for it is easier to say than to actually do it. With all the temptations, with all the provocations, with all the disturbances coming our way, it is but natural that every one of us thinks, well, this one time I will slightly compromise with Satyam. And that's when we begin to pay the price. As they say humorously, you tell one lie, then to protect it, you have to tell another lie, and then it becomes a chain of lies. Somebody went to office and said, sorry, I could not come yesterday, I have brought medical certificate. And that said severe pain in one of the legs. The boss took that letter and then, without showing it to the employee again, said, okay, I'm sorry to know you had severe pain in one of your legs. But tell me, which of the legs had pain, left leg or right leg? Now you can guess. The employee had lied. He somehow got a medical certificate. And when the boss asked, did your left leg have pain or did the right leg have pain? He could not remember what he filled up in the medical certificate. He said, sir, just take a look at that certificate. Whichever leg is described there as having pain, that is the leg I had pain. You know? So this is how you and I also make fools of ourselves when we play with truth and sometimes with our own near and dear ones, maybe a spouse, maybe children, maybe teachers like me, maybe with our own students. We cut a sorry figure if we have slightly compromised with our value system. Therefore, apart from humor, I would seriously say, examine it, you will see the truth of it. To the extent our life is value-based, we can discover immense strength in us. We get good sleep at night. Our days will be filled with energy. Whatever is the problem, we will be able to find a solution to it if we are supported well by right human values. In this talk, I wish to say that Bhagavad Gita not only gives to us certain healthy outlooks and right values, but also guides us with spiritual practices. When you talk about practice, as you know well, it is about doing something again, again, and again. In fact, human values are also like that. Again and again, we need to reject the false and go for truth. It should become a practice with us. It should become our second nature. But apart from that, you and I need to practice. And Sanatana Dharma, which we call Hinduism today, is replete with so many choices. In the Bhagavad Gita, at different places, the sadhanas have been mentioned. We are not to pay lip service to these sadhanas. We are not to say, oh yeah, that is so true. What Sri Krishna says is so right. And stop there. Have you been practicing any of them? Have you been practicing one or two of the exercises Sri Krishna prescribes? Do you pray sincerely? Do you do some asana, pranayama sincerely? Do you on occasions share your wealth? Because in the 4th chapter, Sri Krishna calls even dana as a spiritual practice. He calls dana, charity, sharing, a yajna. Yajna is not just lighting up fire and offering some ahutis, saying swaha, swaha. That also is a yajna, no denying. But in the broader vision of Sri Krishna, countless are the yajnas possible in human life. Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, tatapare, swadhyaya jnana yajnascha, yataya samshita vrataha, evam bahuvidha yajnaha, vitataha brahmano mukhe, vedasya mukhe, says Sri Krishna. Countless are the spiritual practice laid before you, and it is up to you to take. You go to a huge mall and such countless varieties of desirables are presented before you, and you have money to buy, put into your cart, whatever you need. So is the Bhagavad Gita, and we must do practices. We have this God-given body. If we do even 21 minutes of average daily exercise for the body, you are bound to have greater inner strength. You and I know body and mind are interrelated. If we only study about various possible exercises, there are people who collect, so many books nowadays, audio, video, media, about all kinds of exercises, but they don't do any exercise. One of you in the Bay Area only said to me long back, how in an office, I believe, some guest speaker had come talking about fitness. And he spoke to the executives of Silicon Valley in that particular office. By the way, what exercise all of you do on a regular basis? And one of these executives of the Silicon Valley got up and rather apologetically said, well, sir, the only exercise we do at this company is jumping to conclusions. So exercises are also paid a lip service. If we do physical exercises, which Sri Krishna calls yoga yajna. Yoga is a yajna. Yoga, you do 12 Surya Namaskars or 24 of them with slight variation, as you know, and do 10 minutes of Nadi Shuddhi, that simple pranayama, breathing in through the right nostril, breathing out through the left, breathe in through the left and breathe out through the right. Do it together for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Do it day after day. In the face of hard times, you will find on one hand, there is stress, there is pain, there is inner discomfort. But on the other, an inner voice will speak from you, saying, no problem, I will handle this. These times are hard, but I have a gut feeling that I can manage this. How will this voice come from inside you? Thanks to the regular yoga you did. Thanks to the simple Nadi Shuddhi exercise that you did. And some of these exercises can be done at any age, at any time. You don't have a very athletically fit body to do some of these pranayamas. All you need to do is sit down, especially when your nostrils are clear. Sometimes, they are a bit blocked. When it is clear, celebrate it. Do some pranayama, and there you go. So there are exercises. I wish to draw your attention, especially to higher spiritual exercises. And it is rightly said that the highest spiritual exercise is meditation. Not all can do it though, by saying, oh, is that the highest? Then I will do that only from today, 10 minutes. Are you fit? What does preparation mean? Preparation is satsangas. Preparation is regular study. Preparation is coming upon a different outlook towards life. Because one of the simplest definitions of meditation is to take a lofty outlook and stay there. Meditation is not any other mumbo jumbo. It is go to a heightened consciousness. Go to a way of seeing life. Go to a way of seeing yourself where everything looks harmonious. Maybe it is a state of gratitude. Maybe it is a state of accepting life as it is. Maybe it is a state of love towards everybody, even those who found fault with you, who are troubling you even today. You come upon a state of mind. God bless them. God be good to all. I forgive everyone. You come to that state of mind, not just saying those words. You really feel, why should I hold a grudge against anybody? Why should I have any complaint about anything? I am happy the way I am. And I'm going to do what best is possible even today towards solving some problems which are in front of me. So that kind of outlook, more than some Sanskrit mantra or some, out of the way techniques, to arrive at a really harmonious, healthy state of mind and stay there is meditation. And you know what? In religious language, that is called being with God. That is called being with God. For what is God after all? God is all good values put together. God is Satya. God is towards all. No matter what they did to you, you are with God. Because only God can forgive everybody. Normally, who can forgive? Leave alone all. Even if one person has been unkind, I will teach him a lesson and so on. So to be able to forgive all is to be with God. So in chapter 6, which is sometimes called Dhyana Yoga, I would like to quote Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, if through the thick and thin of life, through varieties of situations, you anyhow manage to do satsanga, lift your mind to nobler heights and stay in meditation, then your mind will be superb. The beautiful analogy that Sri Krishna gives, with which all of you are, of course, familiar, is the flame of a lamp in a windless spot. Yatha deepo nivatasto nengate sopama smrita yogino yata chittasya Yunjato yogam atmanah deepaha nivatastaha na ingate na chalati. The flame is steady. Likewise, the state of meditation where you and I may bring ourselves and stabilize ourselves blesses us with unshakable inner peace. Then we do what best is possible. A sattvic energy will be rising in us. Even as people get depressed in similar situations, we, of course, going through some stress, have that inner voice. No problem. I will do what is best possible. It is Sri Krishna who uses the expression heavy sorrow in Sanskrit, Guru Dukkha. Guru means heavy. Yasmin stitona dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. Lord Krishna describes a heightened state of consciousness as one where Yasmin stitaha, staying there, even gravest of adversities do not disturb or perturb or depress us. Yasmin stitaha gurunapi dukkhena, not laguna dukkhena. Dukkha is sorrow or adversity. Lagu means some small, tiny, light ones. Guru means heavy. I can never forget in the early 90s, before even I came to your area, I was teaching in Bombay Ashram. I was also teaching some Sanskrit along with Vedanta. I asked one brahmachari, tell me what is Guruna Dukkhena na Vichalyate? I don't know even now whether he answered mischievously or really out of ignorance. He said, Swamiji, Dukkhena Guruna api na Vichalyate means a very good meditator does not get disturbed even by sorrows caused by his guru. Guruna dukkhena. So Guru doesn't mean guru there, that is teacher. Guruna dukkhena means through or by even heavy adversity, death of near and dear ones, savings of whole lifetime going down the drain. Many people looking at us as their enemy, people trying to really make our life miserable. All that is going on around. That is Guru Dukkha, heavy sorrow. Yet, with chest up, you look at them with eyes of love. And recognizing they are doing something wrong, your bosom is free from negative emotions. You will do what best is to be done. No spirituality says lie down and receive all the beatings that life gives. No. You may hit back. You may actually put them behind bars. You may go to court. You may move heaven and earth against evil forces. Bhagavad Gita never says, don't hit back. That is all some distorted, limited interpretation of Gita. Bhagavad Gita permits varieties of responses. You must be true to your conscience. It gives options, sattvic option, rajasic option, tamasic option. There is a saying in Sanskrit, Yakshanurupo Bali. Yaksha, is some semi-celestial being. And in the ritualistic context, Bali, what you offer in a ritual, should be in alignment. It should be appropriate to the Yaksha. Just as in our modern pujas, if it is Shiva, we offer Bilva Patra. If it is Krishna, we offer Tulasi Patra. That is called Devanurupaha Arpanam. Devanurupam Arpanam. Shivasya Bilvarpanam, Krishnasya Tulasi Dal Arpanam, and for Ganesha, yet another kind of Durva grass, I think. So, likewise, Bhagavad Gita says, depending on your situation and depending on your personality type, if you are a Kshatriya, come out, roll up your sleeves and give a real Kshatriya response. Sri Krishna would say, well done. If you have a Brahminical personality, you may respond more with knowledge, with certain effective communication, sending out a message to them, helping them see the possible consequences of the wrong things they are trying to do against you. So use knowledge, use wealth, use power, use any combination of all of them. Meet with situations. Gita empowers you to do that. Therefore, friends, whether it is 6th chapter or 2nd chapter or 18th chapter, everywhere couched in different languages, in the language of noble values, in the language of particular exercises, in the language of the spirit of surrender to God, in the language of Ramana Maharshi's, who am I inquiring? Ask yourself, who am I? You will find more than the world outside, it is the ego in you which is a problem. By questioning the ego, by driving the ego to the wall, you will find what was a problem a minute ago becomes no problem. Now, towards the end of my sharing this evening, I would like to share with you what I other day watched in a short video that came my way. And for, in Sanskrit, there is a saying, Langhanam Paramaushadam. Langhanam means, normally Langhanam is jumping, long jump, high jump. That is also Langhanam. Hanuman crossed the ocean. It is Samudra Langhanam, right? But here, Langhanam Paramaushadam means fasting is the best kind of medicine. And a young lady, her name is Preetaji, shared a video on the media. And she says there are 4 kinds of Langhanam. One is the most well-known, that is skip food, Ekadashi, or Monday nights, or go your own choice. Once in a few days, you skip food. Maybe take just liquids, maybe just take fruits. That is, of course, helpful. It builds inner strength. It helps physically as well as mentally. It gives us better willpower. Sometimes some of us know so much philosophy, but we have no willpower at all. If there is a jalebi in front of us, all our philosophy takes a back seat and we pick the jalebi. After it goes into the mouth, philosophy again comes up. Such is our weak willpower. But if we take up some fasting, no matter what, Ekadashi evening, I will not eat regular food. I'll just take a glass of buttermilk, something you make a rule for yourself. That's well known. The second one is, this is where it got interesting, Shwasa Langhanam, fasting in the context of breathing. I'm recommending this exercise, already I touched upon it, to get inner strength. What is Shwasa Upavasa? We generally breathe in haphazard manner. We are not even aware of how we are breathing. Our attention is on something else. Now, for a few minutes here, a few minutes there, if we do regulated breathing, like Nadi Shuddhi, like Kapalabhati, like Vastrika, like some other, there are pranayamas that people teach you. Or as simple as simple breathing in and breathing out, but with noticing the breath. Now, why do we call it Upavasa? Because just like normally people would eat anything anytime, in Upavasa of food, they say, no, this is Ekadashi evening, I won't eat. Likewise here too, rather than breathing in a haphazard manner, you say, no, I'm going to breathe in very slowly, hold for a couple of seconds, breathe out slowly. So once you bring it under certain regulation, it is a kind of Shwasa Upavasa, can give you many physical, physiological, emotional benefits. Breath. Our breath is a great doorway to our own inner strength. We underestimate it. We postpone breathing exercises and then pay doctor's bills and whatnot. The third one is a kind of fasting in the context of talking. In talking also, many of us have no control. We get a thought, we just want to say to somebody. Once some elderly person was telling me and I stopped him. Wait, only 1 minute, I said. You have said this to me 3 times. He said, really, Swamiji, you are such a kind person. 3 times you have heard this from me. Please listen to me for the 4th time today. What we call it? Compulsiveness. Call it compulsive, call it impulsive. Many a time we are unable to hold back. Emotional disturbance make us say what should not be said, or make us keep our mouth shut where something should have been said without any delay. Say it now or never, but some inhibition, some kind of looking left or right. Then we pay a price for it. Therefore, the 3rd kind of fasting is to bring speech under regulation. Say to yourself again and again, next time I am convinced that I need to say it now, no matter what discomfort I have, I will just say. And next time, my conscience says, "Ish, this is secret. Don't tell these confidential things to everybody." Someone had confessed before you in all confidence, and you're going to say it to everybody here in this party with a soft drink in your hand. Don't make that blunder, says the inner voice. Next time, inner voice asks you not to spill the beans. For heaven's sake, don't spill the beans. Even if it has come to the tip of your tongue, with soft drink in hand, you even said to your friend in the party, and I must tell you what happened in their house. You may not know, I tell you. You have come up to that point. And the inner voice says, don't tell. You are doing breach of confidence. And this gossiping, this kind of letting people know what is very confidential about that family who in so much faith told you, don't say this. When you get that voice, even if you have made a prelude, just say, you know what? Just change the topic. You say, that family, they are planning to go to Delhi. And it seems they may even move to Delhi. This is not the topic which came up to the tip of your tongue. But at the nick of time, you held back. For that, you will pat yourself on the back for the rest of your life. So that is called Vak Upavasa. Not to speak just out of impulse, and to speak up when the conscience says this is the time to say. Then that is also regulation. The 4th and another interesting domain of fasting is Upavasa in movement. And you wonder what? Is it possible to do Upavasa, that is fasting, in the context of movement? Food we can understand. Breathing also okay. Speech understood. What is this movement? You know, that is an area where even spiritual teachers find it difficult. Because all of us human beings have so many emotional urges and intellectual disturbances. We just get an idea without realizing what we are doing. We are up and we go towards the fridge, take a drink out of it. We get an idea, even scholars among us, we suddenly jump out of our room, our chair, go to the library, pick up a book and start. Pick up a newspaper, or these days, go to some website and watch. So we tend to get up and go here, go there. The last kind of upavasa says, twice a day, sit down and give a suggestion to yourself. Next 18 minutes, I will not get up. I will not move. sit inside the house, or if the weather is nice, warm, sit in your balcony with a view of the garden, some plants, etc. behind your house. Sit at some place, or early morning, having woken up, sit on the bed itself for a little while and say, I will not move my position at all. I won't scratch my ear. I won't lift my glasses. I won't make any movement. Like a statue, I shall sit for 15 minutes, 18 minutes. Not easy for most of us. Before even we realize that we have got up, we find ourselves 6 feet away from where we were sitting. Therefore, friends, in summary, we have in the Bhagavad Gita wonderful guidance, right values, right outlooks, right ethical practices, right attitudes towards near and dear ones. Karma Yoga is the most celebrated teaching. It is a matter of attitude. Don't ask what he can give you. Ask what you can give him. Indra Nui, in one of her short talks, when she received a president's, Indian president's medal, the president of India honored her, Indra Nui, the former CEO and president of PepsiCo. In her short 4-minute speech, she said, as I climbed the corporate ladder, I very soon realized that the greatness of leaders is not about leading in an eminent way. It is about empowering people below. Therefore, she addressed a huge audience, I guess, in Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. She said, all of you try to do something so that people junior to you, people younger to you are helped to come up. Empowering, right? That is Karma Yoga defined in another way. Rather than looking at everybody wondering how he can help me rise higher, we have done enough. We have risen enough. Now, when next time I meet somebody, next time you meet somebody, let us ask the question, how can I help this lady enjoy life more? How can I help this young man bring out his hidden potential more than before? Is there some way I can help him? So that is Karma Yoga. And then, as I said towards the second part of my lecture, there are exercises. Find out, these are the 3 exercises I would like to do daily. Forget the other 300 exercises. You don't have to do anything and everything under the sun. But do those 3 or 4, which you yourself say, I love this. I like to do this. Maybe it is just an evening walk. In the California weather in January, maybe afternoon 3 o'clock. Come out of your house, take a nice walk. I remember in the good old days, I used to go to the rose garden near, go round and round at about 3 o'clock also in the winter months with some jacket and so on. So you have, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area, God-given wonderful weather. So do some of those exercises. Say, this is what I have chosen and I will do this daily. In this way, friends, Bhagavad Gita goes a long way. Our study of this most popular scripture of Hinduism goes a long way in equipping us with healthy outlooks, good exercises, and so on, so that we have tremendous inner strength. And our medha, our intelligence also operates better. We have intelligence, but it gets blocked. Intelligence operates better when we have tuned our personality with some of these values and exercises. Then we will surely emerge victorious. We will meet hard times in an excellent manner. I thank every one of you for having given this opportunity to me in the very first month of this 2022 to share some noble thoughts with all of you. May every one of you rise spiritually and make your life a truly fulfilling one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Thank you, Swamiji. That was an amazing talk and very useful to all of us. So I'll invite from the audience anybody I would like to ask a question. Unmute yourself and you can ask Swamiji. Anyone wants to start?
Can I ask a question? I have a thought, not a question, but I have a thought.
Okay.
Dear Swamiji, I know you mentioned something about Upavasa and which is linked to the Ekadasi and all those. So my question is, I know body and mind, they are linked. And when body goes through hunger, like when you are doing Ekadasi and Upavasa, so how does the mind calm down to those agitation that coming out of the body? Swamiji, did I say it correct or did you hear?
Where is Swamiji? Here. Swamiji, please unmute. Swamiji, you are muted.
Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Swamiji.
Please, I didn't hear your question. Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Swamiji, let me put my thought. It's not a question, but I was very enlightened about the talk that you linked about Ekadasi and Upavasa. So my point was, our body and mind, they are linked. Whatever when body goes through hunger, mind goes through a lot of agitations. So when you do Ekadasi or something, how do you calm down your mind with some sadhana or some tips that you could provide?
Oh yes, there also the best news is you have a lot of choices because all of us are made differently. Someone during Ekadashi, suppose that person has a special feeling for Mahavishnu, may recite Vishnu Sahasranama. That is a very standard practice. Or may sit down and do some malas of Om Namo Narayanaya. But many of us are not oriented that way. So we could, on the evening of Ekadashi, when we don't eat, other members of the family are eating, we can go to our room in a separate corner and read up, even a little spiritual reading. These days, instead of reading, it could be listening. It could be watching a well-chosen video on the YouTube. Luckily for us, there are so many excellent speakers of different backgrounds. Other day I heard for 10 minutes, Shri M. You know, Shri M is a Muslim gentleman by birth, but from childhood he went into Gita and Upanishads. And he is a spiritual teacher going around. Shri M. His name was Mansoor Ali or some such name to begin with. So there are beautiful writers and speakers. So it could be any exercise. So you save half an hour by not sitting at the dining table. Engage that half an hour in a self-development activity of your choice. Then the benefit will be double. And as I said towards the end of my lecture, these actually activate your intelligence on a sattvic plane. See, in good old days, Sandhya Vandana people used to do Gayatri Japa morning and evening. And Pujya Swami Chidananda used to say, the recitation of Gayatri in the morning and in the evening makes one very, very intelligent. Medha Shakti, it is called. Medha Janana, it is called. So it's never too late for us, even though we are no more boys or girls of school, even at above 50, above 60, above 70 also, we can do some exercises such as mantra japa, and then we don't need brain power to solve some mathematical issues, but conflict resolution. What is the right thing to do? What is the right response to a situation? Many times we need that. Our life is full of regrets, how on some occasion we did not respond properly. Somebody was ready to help. We said out of Abhiman, maybe, I don't need your help. Then we regret, oh my God, I should have taken help from that well-meaning friend that day, but out of pride, I said no. I acted out of false prestige, etc. Why does that happen? That's what I'm calling absence of intelligence. To awaken intelligence, these spiritual practices can go a long way. So I would recommend study 20 minutes during Ekadashi Vrata. Read, preferably the same author, the same book for at least for a period of time. For 6 months, stick to one book, see how far it can take you.
If I can just comment, when Swamiji was with us for 25 years ago, I remember him recommending 20-20-20. 20 minutes for physical exercise, 20 minutes for study, for meditation from the mind, and 20 minutes for study. If we can even do 10-10-10, that would be good. Not 20-20-20. Right, Swamiji?
That's well said. Well said.
Thank you, Swamiji. Those are very wonderful tips. I know we need to
Thank you,
make a
Sudhamji.
habit of it. Yeah.
Anybody else has any question, please go ahead. Pandiji?
And can I just make a comment? Swamiji, it was very inspiring, wonderful to hear you. What you said about Gandhi is really very important. In his ashram in South Africa, they have reconstructed it. It was burned down, but in every room, in his own handwriting, there are passages from Gita which inspired him.
Oh, that's very interesting. In 2007, I had visited that Phoenix ashram and saw that place reconstructed.
Yeah.
But what you said did not catch my attention, or I have forgotten.
Maybe you did not go to the bathrooms.
Maybe, yeah. I even was told some of those printing machines had been destroyed. They made similar old type printing machine again.
Yes, yes.
In Durban. Yes. So this is Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Manoj, you have a question.
Yes, Van. Thank you, Van. First of all, thanks, Swamiji. It was a very it was a very enlightening talk. It was very nice also to explain all these things, and especially when we are describing about Gurunam Dukkhena under heavy sorrow. So you also, as an example, you gave depression, stress, and so those are the two words that caught my attention. And especially during this COVID time, we hear normally a lot of people are in depression and different kinds of stress. So, so while trying to adopt the solution that you suggested, be true to yourself. So will you kindly let us know a little bit what exactly is depression? Why it happens in humans? I mean, everybody out here is all educated. They are all in, highly educated. In fact, people have come from India to United States. But oftentimes we find ourselves, bogged down in depression and stress, and that has become a way of life here. So what exactly is that?
Yeah, very, very important question. All of us go through it, all of us, no exception. But some go through it to a greater extent and some to a lesser extent. I, for example, consider myself as not free from depression, but I have very mild depression. Once in a while, a wave of sadness passes through me, a very short while only. Then again, I am happy. Okay, now without making it autobiographical, in my understanding, depression is the inability to accept the gap between how I wanted to see myself and how I see myself. It could be in business, it could be in relationship, it could be in any way, but there is strongly a sense of I dream of something, I dream of an image, I think of how society should look at me. And the fact is, the society is not looking at me the way I desired. I'll give an example. There was a time when, let us say, I'm just constructing an example, not me myself. There was a time, let us say, I was so successful in business, wherever I went to some get-together, many of them would stand up and receive me. And then my fortunes, turned for adverse. And nowadays, I've gotten old also. My finances are not so good. I do attend some social gatherings. And even those who look at my entry just turn their face away, and it hurts me. Then that memory that night again disturbs me. There was a time when I used to get a rousing welcome. Now nobody seems to bother about me. Now, without making it long, spiritually speaking, Sri Krishna would say there is no problem at all. Whether they receive you warmly or not is their problem. You just forget. Wasn't the food good? Wasn't the drink good? And the host you invited me was courteous to you, right? And that's enough. Forget it. But we say, no. This you don't know. Those times when the whole town used to, I was the talk of the town, blah, blah. Why are you attached? So, in summary, we get attached to an image of how we ought to be. And there is nothing absolute about it, really. None of us needs to be famous, really. None of us needs to be stinking rich. If we have our basic needs fulfilled in a hygienic, healthy way, that's more than enough. None of us needs hundreds of admirers. If our spouse and children, run to us and say, I'm the dad. Dad, I love you. That must be such a blessing. 2 or 3 people, they have great regard for us. Others don't, So that should be okay, really speaking. But this thought machine, that's what we call conditioning. Some of us have been conditioned to an image of ours as financially successful, technologically successful, relationship-wise successful, and so on. Why do you want some success defined in some unrealistic manner? In fact, if there is one thing you and I should be truly concerned with is whether we have done something unethical. Have we hurt people? Have we let down somebody who was looking at us for some, help? Have we behaved in an insensitive manner? Those things should bother us. Because being insensitive, not unpopular or being insensitive, being selfish is going to hurt us spiritually. Ultimately, the journey of every one of us is a spiritual journey, though one doesn't recognize it outwardly. So let me sum up my answer. Depression is when we do not accept what changes life brought in our life, what changes took place in our life. If we accept those changes, then there will be no depression.
It's a kind of attachment to our own image of being successful.
Yes.
Okay.
Attachment to our own image.
Thank you so much.
Suppose a singer used to come to Bay Area and minimum 1,000 people used to hear his singing, whether Bollywood singing or classical singing, whatever. And then something happened. Nowadays, many other singers have come. This singer comes again to Bay Area. He is performing in some well-known hall. You know, hardly 50 people took the tickets, let us say. Now, really, if that singer is spiritually strong, he says to God, my singing is for your pleasure, Lord. How many come is not an issue. But generally, human beings don't have that spiritual depth. They look at only 50 who have come to the hall, and the memory goes. There was time tickets were sold. People used to watch my singing from outside on CCTV. Oh, and so on. So attachment, you said it so well. It is attachment to a particular image, and that image, there is nothing sacrosanct about it. It is foolishness. Human mind is foolishly attached to a particular image.
I have just a
Sorry. Yes, Anjali.
namaskar. I still remember about you described us long time back about taking care of BMI, body mind
Yeah.
and I'm trying at least. But today you said about the upavasa in movement, So I was thinking, upavasa in movement means, can we just focus on the chakras, any chakras, or that is not, that also comes as a movement? I mean, stand still for 15 minutes. I mean, doing nothing means concentrating something, right?
If you have learned the art or the science of chakras, you may incorporate it in that sitting quiet. I did not imply it, but that is welcome. You see, somebody sits quietly and focuses on chakras. Somebody else sits quietly without any movement, focuses on Sri Krishna's image.
Right.
Somebody sits quietly, thinks of Lord Shiva with moon upon his head.
I mean, we can concentrate on some.
Correct. Yeah, you may combine a particular exercise with that sitting quietly. Yes, so it doesn't have to be any this or that. You may. Someone may sit quietly, no movement, and goes on saying Om, Om, Om. So it is all to be tailor-made by oneself for oneself.
Thank you.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Please.
When we sit down for meditation, mind becomes quiet. But sometimes, let's say, we hear something disturbing before the meditation, and that thought keeps playing in our head. And then we are observing that thought, and we know it's not right, but it's a struggle to get back to the quietening process. Is there any secret you can share with us? How do we handle that?
So if I got your question right, just before you sat for meditation, you heard something, some input took place, and that kind of hijacked your mind.
Right.
What you may do is, if you see that to be so powerful, postpone your meditation by 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, give to yourself some healthier input. So distract yourself from that disturbing thing and into something which is a bit healthy. Yeah. For example, if I may often construct an example, let's say I had made some investments. 5 minutes before I was about to sit for meditation, I got the news from internet or from radio from somewhere that a particular company where I had put money is doing very badly. Now my meditation is going to be difficult. So what I may do is, I say I'll meditate after 15 minutes. And in those 10-15 minutes, I take something inspiring. I read 2 pages of Swami Vivekananda, solid tonic. And once I read Swami Vivekananda or one of them, something, then though the information, my investments are doing so badly, it doesn't go away. Its power to disturb you becomes much less.
Thank you, Swamiji. You read my mind.
Dilute it, weaken that influence.
Anybody else I would like to ask Swamiji before we close? We are about 6 minutes past 9 here. If not, let me thank you, Swamiji, for your kindness to be with us today. And we look forward to seeing and hearing you more again. Thank you.
My pleasure. I always am happy to interact with all of you.
Thank you.
Best wishes to every one of you from my
Thank
heart.
you.